everyone, welcome to Burn Pilates. My name is Lydia and today I'm going to be leading you through a mat class where I'm using a resistance equipment piece called the Pilates Mini that has been designed to give a very similar reformer-like experience in terms of strap work. That being said, you do not need this equipment set to get in a great class. If you have any resistance band that loops over a structure that you have that's firm, that's solid, you can use that. You could also supplement this entire class instead of using resistance with weights. You can also follow along and just use your own body weight. This is a class, like always, that you can customize to what you have. That being said, if you do have the Pilates Mini from home, I'm using the 40-pound resistance and the 30-pound resistance. I have my foot strap set up for my 40-pound and my hand strap set up for my 30-pound. What does that weight mean? Truthfully, I have no idea because resistance is all based on how far you distance yourself away from the tool that you're using. The further you go, the more resistance you'll have. The closer you are, the less resistance you'll have. You can customize this class exactly how you need. The one thing I will always preface any class that I teach is by saying, listen to your body, make the appropriate adjustments for yourself, and always listen to what your body is telling you today. This is a class that I have designed where I'm traveling. I'm currently in Portugal. I don't have a mat, so I'm using a towel. The bands are made to be set up through a door. I don't have that opportunity, so I've looped them over this very sturdy banister, and I'm using what I have. So use what you have and make this your own. Without further ado, set up your space, meet me on your mat or towel, and let's get started. Welcome. Like I mentioned before, I want you to make this class your own. While you might not be using the exact same tools that I'm using today with my Pilates Mini, you will be following along all the same in the same movement patterns, the same flow, the same structure. The beauty about Pilates is that the structure and the movement qualities, they rarely change. The equipment simply offers different elements of feedback. We're going to start on our back today, so making sure that you have the appropriate distance. You're going to be using your foot straps to start. Make your way down onto your back. Something you'll want to take note of is that you do have equal amounts of tension, especially if you're working with both sides of your straps. Setting up, bringing your feet into your loops, into your handles. A quick reminder when you are working with resistance is that the further you are away from the point of connectivity to your resistance, the more you will have. And that's something that you want to just pay attention to. You want to have feedback in your band, but you don't want to be fighting it so much that you can't maintain your posture or your alignment. Having your legs set up in a tabletop, squeeze your knees in center, flex your feet, release your weight into the floor, tailbone heavy, collarbones wide, shoulders plugging down. Start to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Start to become conscious with how you're breathing. If it feels good to have your hands on top of your ribs or your stomach wall, bring your hands into the place that allows you to intentionally bring breath into your lungs, expanding your back, expanding your rib cage. Deep breaths in through your nose and exhales through your mouth. If at any point you feel best with your arms, set up palms lifted to the ceiling, cactus arms, or even T arms stretched out to your sides. Pick and choose what is feeling best. It could even be hands underneath your tailbone. Notice where your collarbones are in space and plug your shoulders down, widen across the chest and back. Feet aligned with your kneecaps. You're in a true tabletop here. Somebody could place a saucer directly on top of your shins and it wouldn't fall. Filling up with breath, preparing movement. On your exhale, stretch your legs all the way out forward, keeping your feet flexed, breathing in as you bend, controlling the resistance, controlling the weight of your legs, making sure not to snap the movement back. We're aligning our knees right up over top of our hip bones and pelvic floor. So if you notice that your knees are coming right over top of your chest or stomach wall, just note that is way too deep of a bend. We want to decrease any crunch that our hips have from sitting, from doing work at a desk, from driving. Hip flexion is something that we operate way too much in, and so we want to relieve that hip flexion and work for extension, work to open up the thighs, open up the hips, open up the areas of our body that are naturally tight. I want you to move at a rhythm here that makes sense for you with your breath without moving fast. Move deliberately so that you have even, equal movement in both directions. Squeezing your thighs into center, connect with the sensation of your muscles activating as you press your bones into the midline. Deep breaths in as you bend, exhaling as you stretch, reaching out all the way. Let's go for another set here of 4. Grounding through your upper back. Working as much as you can from a neutral spine. You want your abdominals to suction cup themselves in towards your back without your back responding in a tuck. At the same time, you don't want to overly arch it, so ensure that you have the connectivity of your tailbone rooting down. Your upper back is present on the floor, holding your tabletop right here, externally rotating, heels together, toes apart, Pilates V, breathing in again, and exhale, stretch and lengthen. If you needed to modify and you were working with just your own body weight, or you had weights today instead of tension around your feet, you could always choose to do a single leg variation in your footwork. You could modify and have one foot on the floor if that was the case in your single leg variation. I want you to get comfortable in knowing exactly what options you have to make this your own. Every time you breathe in through your nose is a chance to expand your back and widen yourself into the floor from your shoulders to ribs. And every time you exhale is a chance to engage through your stomach wall, through your pelvic floor, like 2 French doors connecting in. Keep squeezing your heels in, especially as you bend your knees. You want to control the bend. Always getting 2 directions of work in our movements. The more you connect your heels into pushing into the center, the more your glutes will start to respond to the movement that we're warming up in. So really find that anatomical connectivity. It's not just your bones, it's not just your muscles, but also your fascia that we want to train in adhering to our movement patterns, supporting us through, yes, our Pilates practice, but also through everything we do in life. Go for another set here of 4. Exhale for 3. Last set of 2. Making sure not to bend too deeply, stopping your knees right over top of your hip bones. Go for a last one here. As you bring your legs all the way back into a bend, hold the positioning, keeping your feet flexed. Open up into a second position. just take a quick check by looking at your feet, seeing that they're in the alignment of your knees, that they're not closed in, nor are they wider. You have this connectivity, no different than if you were standing in a bar class or in a standing Pilates class in second position. Starting to stretch out, deep breath in and exhale. We're working through each position here. Exact same as if we were in a reformer class, and there's a reformer class that I taught called Tone and Lengthen, where we did the entire class with straps. So if you have a Pilates Mini and you happen to be a reformer subscriber or a subscriber to my Patreon, you can follow along to any Tone and Lengthen class on the reformer series, and with your Pilates Mini you will get an incredible workout, an incredible class. If it helps you to have your hands on your hips, use your own anatomy as a point of connectivity to feel if your form is correct in the movements. Inhale as you bend, exhale as you stretch. Just continuing here for another set of 5, keeping these reps a bit more concise, warming up for 4. Last set of 3. Deep breath in. Exhale for 2. On your last one, as you bend your legs and thighs, take your knees and close them in tight to parallel. Breathe in and exhale, open back to second. You want to maintain stillness through your resistance. You want to remain completely held right here in your second position as you open. Knees, ankles, feet aligning up, closing in, attach your inner thighs. Inhale to open, exhale to close. Feel the rotation happen right from the inner thighs, your outer thighs. Ribs knitted into center for a last set of 4. Work on getting the ankles, big toes, shins and knees and inner thighs to connect at the same time. You don't want the feet connecting first or the knees. You want everything closing together. Last set of 2. Last one from here. Closing all the way in, separating your thighs hip bone width and distance, stretching one leg at a time all the way out, alternating a single leg stretch, working to keep the opposite leg as still as can be. We're going to add on from here. If you're ready, stretch your toes, point, flex as you bend. Work to get that articulation through your metatarsals. The nice thing about working with resistance is that it gives you the feedback very similar to if you're working in water, which is something I often bring into my class in terms of an intention in sensation. So if you are working with ankle weights today or simply your own body weight, cultivate that feeling all the same. Pressing out, pulling in. We don't want the elastic to move us. We are moving it and we are controlling it. Deep breath in. Exhale for 4. Last 3. The depth that you go to will be decided by your form. If your back is arching off the ground in an exaggeration, you've gone too low with your leg and thigh. One thing I'll definitely say is try not to touch the floor, but rather anticipate it so you can train your awareness, your proprioceptive awareness in space. Last time from here, Keeping your left leg in a bent position, extend your right leg all the way out, right leg stays long, and from here, single leg lift and lower. Let's keep the toes in a stretch and a point. Left foot staying flexed. Keeping your left thigh on tabletop, make sure your knee hasn't started to shift towards you. And use your hand against your thigh if you need that little bit of awareness in where you're holding your position, keeping your form. Let's go for a last one here. And exhale. Taking your right leg back to tabletop, stretching left leg long, point your toes, and single leg lift, right thigh staying stable, kneecap right over top of your hip bone. And exhale. Last set of 2. Finishing with one more here, lift and lower. You're going to take both of your legs all the way up, full stretch. Zip up your thighs together, full parallel, and double leg stretch. Lowering down, breathe out. Breathing in as you lift. You want to keep your tailbone as heavy as possible. The butt is never lifting, nor is your spine tucking. So as your legs lift, think of sticking your tailbone out more. Think of keeping that length through your lumbar. And length requires a light little arch. Some of us have a deeper arch naturally. Some of us have a flatter back naturally. So you want to work with your own shape, your own anatomy. I always like to remind you on camera that I am a physical guide, but I'm working my anatomy the way I need to, and I want you to become cognizant and very conscious of your own body and where you need to work in holding your form. Do a self-check, shoulders plugged down, arms present in your mat, tailbone heavy, ribs knitted together. Breathe in. And exhale, stretch, stretch. Hold at the bottom for a quick second before you lift, making sure that you're not letting gravity do the work, nor are you letting the straps do the work. You want to lengthen your knees as much as you can out. And what I would encourage you to do is as you lift your legs, if your knees have to bend because your hamstrings are tight, stop your legs at the point before your knees bend. Lifting and lowering for another set here of 2. Lift one more time all the way up, breathing in and exhale, stretching down, holding a diagonal. Again, check that your ribs are knitted together, and from here, externally rotate, heels together, toes apart. We're going to open the legs up, no wider than mat width. Keeping the legs long, squeezing your thighs together as you close. Breathe out. Inhale and exhale. Keep reaching your thighs forward. Stretch your neck out, eyes to the ceiling. Try not to look at your feet. Let's open and close for one more set of 6. Squeeze tight. The open is there to release the squeeze, and the close is happening where, just like 2 magnets, you're zipping your inner thighs all the way up and in, bringing the attention into your glutes, into your pelvic floor. Last time here, take your legs, open up, mat width wide, and lifting and lowering, keeping that width as you lift, keeping the lateral rotation, external rotation from the hips. Inhale, exhale, press down, down, down. The lower you go, the more your body is going to try to cheat and arch, especially since the weight starts to get heavy. And the weight of our lower body is working us in having to keep the abdominals engaged so as not to let the lower back arch. So when you lower, think of drawing your pubic bone up and in. Think of giving yourself just a light little bit of a pelvic scoop forward, almost like you're about to imprint to help reduce any amount of weight that's taking you down. I'll illustrate this on camera really quickly. If I'm not using the sensation of imprint and I just let my lower body do the work in lowering down with the weight, my back's gonna naturally flare open. So what you wanna do is counterbalance that weight from your core as the legs go down. You're pulling your pelvic muscles and bones forward. Deep breath in, releasing, sticking your tailbone out and pulling your pubic bone forward. That little bit of pelvic engagement is going to help train you for your transverse abdominis. Let's go for another set of 3. Ooh, hopefully you're feeling this through the backs of the legs. Keeping that space. Working evenly from both legs. Don't let one leg start to win this race. They're both unison and synchronized up. Last time from here, keeping your legs again right here on your diagonal. We're going to bring the right leg forward, left leg under, and then left leg forward, right leg under. Little battements. Squeeze, release. No wider than your mat width as you open. Exhale, squeeze. Getting that whole inner thigh engagement from the top of your thighs right into your glutes. 4, 3, 2, last one. Left leg stays right in front of the right leg. Lift 4 times more up. Deep breath in. Exhale, press down. Keep your legs glued together. For 3, 'Try to maintain the external rotation. Keep drawing the awareness into how you're stretching your legs out forward, but still pulling your pubic bone up and in as the legs lower down. Take your legs all the way back up towards the ceiling and switch. Right leg in front of the left. Attach your thighs together. Breathe in and 4 times stretch. Last 2. Finish your last one here, breathing in and exhale, press, 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 press. Attach your legs into parallel and smoothly bend your knees all the way in towards your chest. Safely taking your band out from each foot at a time and releasing it behind you. Just give yourself a little windshield wiper action right here on the floor. When you're ready, you're going to roll towards one side and come all the way up. From here, I'm going to be switching and grabbing a hold of my resistance band that has the handles. And again, this is Pilates Mini specific. You will be using most likely the same band that you had for your feet if you only have one option. Again, modify as you need and choose with the equipment you have how you're going to work. The movement patterns will stay the same. Stretching your legs all the way out. If this does not feel good, you can always sit with a cross-leg position or on your knees. You can also do this standing. We're going to start with our arms stretched all the way out, and you want to have a light little bit of resistance to start you off with. If you need more, sit further back. Taking your arms up onto shoulder height and alignment, breathe in. On your exhale, pull and widen across your collarbones, working right away to a full row. Chest expansion, breathing in as you stretch, exhaling as you pull. Again, a reminder for myself and for you, if you need more tension, it's your responsibility to make it hard enough for yourself that you feel the work, so sit further back if ever you need. That's better. Exhale and inhale. Working from here, keeping your collarbones wide, neck is long. Challenge yourself to look a little bit higher as opposed to looking lower so that you can really find this length through your cervical spine. We're so used to using phones and working from technology where we're looking down and the neck has gotten trained to start to curve forward. So we want to lift our gaze and really work for this not only chest expansion, but this gaze expansion. Expand your gaze outwards. Exhale as you pull, elbows opening wide, wrists and hands following that elbow trajectory. Take a full breath in as you reach, and exhale, pull for another set of 4, controlling the resistance forward for 3, and exhale for 2. On your last one here, you're going to maintain the tension as your arms bend. Hold the width across your chest. Scoop your tailbone forward and find a C-spine curvature right away. You're going to return your arms back to the stretch and again pull and widen across your chest. If this is too much resistance, now that you're in the C-spine, adjust as you need. You're going to see me make my own adjustments because I'm working for myself here as much as guiding you. I'm equally working my own practice. And adjustments are necessary because every day is different, and also resistance may be different in terms of how you're working with the control in your postures. You always want to work from a place of control, from a place of precision, working your form first, feeling second, and focus third. Inhale as you reach, and exhale. If in the C curvature you're feeling any strain in your lumbar spine, include a Pilates ball or a cushion or even rolled up towel to help support you. Or take your legs to a bent knee position like so. You can choose how you wish to have your body at any given moment to support what you're feeling. We want to work for strength, stretch, and sculpt, not strain. So if ever you feel like you're straining, don't allow your body to continue in the position that might be putting a little bit too much pressure on you. And these are just reminders so that you can make this your own. Deep breath in and exhale. Let's go for 3. Last set of 2. Finishing your last one here. Bend your arms, hold the bend, keep the bend, and close your arms in as you breathe in. Exhale as you open, taking this rotation right from the collarbones, keeping the width. Rotator cuffs working as you close, opening up, elbows never higher than the collarbones as you open. Try to get your arms to squeeze right next to your ribs as you close, and then open up wide to the side, creating that space. Knuckles look out as you close, and knuckles look up to the ceiling as you open. Go for another set of 3. Keep your neck soft, look from side to side if you need to liberate it. For 2. For 1 more from here, elbows stay in. We're going to take it to a small jab and pulse, finding that stop as you pull back. It's like you're trying to get your elbows to touch the floor so the arms are never up high, they're drawing down, even if you have weights in your hands. Exhale. Squeeze your knees in together. Keep grounding. Gaze lifted upwards. Feel this work in your abs as you pull your arms back for another set of 4. 3. Last 2. Last 1. Stretching your arms all the way out. Breathe in. Exhale. Pull your arms back all the way in and return back to this rotator cuff work. Elbows lifting up onto your collarbone height. I want you to imagine that you're sitting up against a wall and the backs of your arms are brushing up and down that wall. Don't let your hands lift higher than your elbows as you open, and make sure that when you close, your wrists and elbows are in alignment together. Last set of 4. Sitting taller as your arms lower, feeling this resistance as you press down to lengthen. Final set of 2. Let's go for 1 more deep breath in and exhale. You're going to stretch your arms all the way out. Tuck back under, find your C-spine and rotate your fingers facing up to the ceiling, knuckles down to floor. We're going to bicep curl in and out. Elbows staying elevated, collarbones wide. Exhale to curl and inhale to stretch. Now, if you are in a place today that you want to add on a bit of choreography and you're ready for that extra challenge from the lower body, as you curl, you keep your legs long, and as you stretch, you elevate one leg at a time. Curl in, slow lower, and exhale. Breathe in and exhale. Try not to go higher with your leg than about chin to nose alignment. Even if you're more flexible, I want you to find that 45 degrees so that you're working in synchronicity with the arms and finding this form, really working for that midline work, coming from your core, coming from your connection to the ground, from your connection to the tension. Let's go for a last set here of 4. Last set of 2. Finish your last one, hold the curl, lift your left leg up, and from here, just alternate a leg lift. Maintaining your arms in a bent position, I want you to stack your wrists over top of your elbows, elevate your elbows up a little higher, feel this bicep work, and lift and lower for 4. 4. You thought I was gonna do single counts. 3. And 3. Last set of 2. One more each leg. Lifting up, lowering down. Final time. From here, stretch your arms and return your body all the way up long. Softly, smoothly, let go of your tension. I'm going back into my foot strap option, coming down onto our sides. We're gonna set up right away for some glute work. The 3 options that you have to work in are: 1, you can have your arms set up underneath your head. You could also have a cushion if that felt better. 2, you could be on your forearm. And 3, you could have your hand under your head. I don't love this option because if you notice, the head and neck start to go into a banana shape, and what happens is it pushes your right obliques down into the floor. I would rather that you have your hand under your head where you can lift your right obliques from the floor, or where you're working for a little bit more support in pressing your forearm down. Do what feels best for you. Always make the best choice for you. All of our bodies are different, and all of our bodies have different needs. Setting up, we're taking both strap handles in and around the left foot. Now this is going to be something that, again, you want to pay close attention to in the tension that you're working with, because if it's too much resistance, you simply need to bring yourself a little bit closer to where your tension's coming from. Bottom leg is going to be set up right here in a clam position. The top leg is lifted. We have our knee and thigh in parallel, very much the same as if you were on a reformer working in your strap series for single leg work. You're going to start from here, breathing in, bend, and on your exhale, I want you to stretch all the way out to your side. Now, right away, I'm making the choice that up is not for me today. My tension isn't high enough up that my head is out of the way, so I'm going to come down, keeping your right obliques lifted, stretch, lengthen, and then bend 90 degrees only on the bend. When you stretch, you're aligning your heel right up into your sit bone. So if you've done reformer work with me before, you'll hear me. I'm a stickler for this form. I always say stretch out and get your heel aligned up into your sit bone. Same principles here. I'll always indicate the positioning that you want to stretch to, because there are different angles of work, especially when we work with the straps. But from here, this is exactly the same movement pattern as what you would do if you were marching. Your knee bends, it aligns right up into your hip bone. It doesn't come all the way in towards your chest. Your hip bone is down here, it's not up here. So check that your form is accurate. As you lengthen, you're always pushing your foot into the resistance. Right obliques are lifted and cinched in. This is amazing work for your obliques. If you're able to tap into that sensation, excellent. If you're not, try to think of pushing your left hip further and further away. Naturally, your right side will elevate. Now, every time you stretch, if you're not feeling your butt activate, touch it, have your hand on it, and feel that glute and booty pop up. You want to squeeze it at the end, and you want to fully feel where you're holding the tension just long enough for the glute to get into that activity. Inhale to bend, And exhale to stretch. Keep working for the length here for another set of 3. You want your leg to bend and stretch on your hip alignment. And again, you're controlling both directions. Don't let the tension pull you in. Make sure that you're allowing yourself to control that resistance in the bend and stretch equally. The last time here that you stretch on out, you're going to hold, you're going to externally rotate, and we're going to go into our bend and stretch, no different than how we started on our back and footwork, finding that second position. Now, the second position is like an elevated clam. Your foot and ankle follow the alignment of your knee trajectory. The knee stops over top of your hip bone, and as you stretch, you go right back into your sit bone alignment. So there's this opening, kind of like a rainbow. You stretch out and down. Inhale as you bend. Exhale as you press and reach. And if you're doing this correctly, you should be feeling this bottom right side working as well because of how you're holding your obliques engaged to maintain hip support. Keep stretching and lengthening out with your breath. Make sure that your left hip isn't starting to collide into your left ribs. We're keeping the space, we're keeping the distance, and this is all the work that you can get to work your abdominals at the same time as getting in this amazing strap series for leg, lower body, glute, inner and outer thigh, the whole shebang. We're going to go for another set here of 3 and exhale to lengthen. Last set of 2. On your final one here, maintain the stretch. Hold the length of your leg, return your thigh back to parallel, stabilize on the floor, and stretch your bottom leg all the way out on the floor. Now we're not moving our top left leg, we're keeping the stretch. Your obliques are staying engaged. Use the floor as a means to help support you with either your left hand fisted, flexed, whatever feels best. And from here, balance work. We're lifting and lowering right leg from the floor. Trying to keep as much as you can the stretch with the activation of pushing your left foot into that strap handle. Breathe in and exhale. Lower and lift. Now that you have the movement, see if you can hover your leg off the floor and not touch the ground every time you lower. Last set of 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're going to take your leg, bring it back to the floor, release it into its clam position, and from here, point your toes, full stretch through your left foot. You're going to take your leg all the way onto a diagonal 45 and stretch all the way out towards your side. Hinging from your hip, keeping your spine in neutral, sending your tailbone back. Inhale forward and exhale, press. The more comfortable you get, and if your tension is staying stable at a point where it's not moving on your object of support, start to hinge your leg more forward without letting your back round. Let's go for another set here of 5. And exhale. For 4. Making sure that you're not dropping the height of your leg. It's staying right up on your hip alignment. Final set of 2. Finishing your last one here. Breathe in and exhale. Stretch all the way out. Hold on your sideline and start here a small circle. You're circling your leg up and around, drawing about the size of an orange, a grapefruit, nothing much bigger than that. Keeping your thigh in parallel, making sure that your leg's not bouncing in your tension. Circle here for 5, 4, 3, 2, switching directions opposite way. One more set here of 8, 7, 6. Check in with that right side. Cinch your waistline in and breathe out. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. As you bend your leg in, go slowly with control so that your band doesn't snap you out of alignment. We're going to switch sides. And again, making the same choices or different for your second side. Each side of your body is different. You want to make sure that you are set up slightly behind your strap. Make sure your strap isn't behind you as you set up for the second side. Bring your foot safely into your band, and as you take your stretch of your thigh, you're lifting your left waistline up off the ground, making sure that you're using the extension of your right thigh to fully press that band out. Bend to 90 degrees and stretch. Neck is long. Don't get caught up in looking at your leg work. Train your proprioceptive awareness right here to move freely without needing to see yourself always. Checking back in with the form, your leg is bending to 90 degrees, knee and foot marching into position, keeping your thigh and leg right up on that hip alignment as you stretch back out. Make this right booty pop. Feel it with your hand if you need. Never be shy to touch yourself to get in that extra feedback. It's so funny, but sometimes it just takes a means of touching your muscle that you're working to bring your mind into the game of activating mindfully to garner the best movement possibility. One tip I will always give people is slow down the movement so that the control is something that you're working in both directions. It's not always obvious when we speed up where we're meant to feel the work, so slow it down if ever you're unsure, and train your body to garner work from every little micro movement that you're making. Right hip, you want to keep it away from your right rib, so push it down and away if you're having trouble activating your left obliques off the floor. There should never be a feeling like you're suffocating the ground. There should always be this little mouse house of space under your waistline. Deep breath in and exhale, stretch. Let's go for another set here of 4. Exhale for 3. Last set of 2. Finishing your final one here as you stretch on out, hold the extension, externally rotate toes to ceiling, knee to ceiling. And as you bend, you're stacking your knee up right over top of your hip bone. And as you stretch out, you're taking your heel back down into your sit bone alignment right here. So it's like you're drawing again a rainbow. And the more you feel this activation and lifting that left oblique up off the floor, the more you're not only stabilizing through your hips, but you're working the tone in your abdominal wall. It's incredible, but when you work your posture, you work your obliques. When you work your pelvic floor, you work your transverse. When you work standing tall, laying tall, working length, you work your abdominals and stretching out and strengthening out. And that's sometimes a common misconception. People think, oh, if I'm doing crunches and if I'm doing these tightening actions, that my abs will start to look long and lean. And that is exactly what you don't want to do. You don't want to just tighten your muscles up into these little balls of fury. You want to stretch them out. I don't usually use this as an example, but I've trained a lot of women over the years who use Victoria's Secret models, circa 2000, as the barometer for stomach walls that they like to have. And those ladies, let me tell you, they're working their posture first and foremost in exercises, and they're not doing crunches to get those long, lean muscles. P.S. There's also a certain amount of DNA that's attached to having that framework. Some of us are born a little bit more short and stout. Some of us are born longer and limber. And we want to train our anatomical awareness for our own bodies, not for someone else's body. So really start to feel this movement for yourself and try to bring awareness in where you can work to have these anatomical cues so set up for your movement patterns to be trained. Go for a last set of 2. And exhale, stretch. And on your final one here, hold the extension of your thigh, turning your leg back to parallel, keeping your leg fully extended as you reach your bottom leg out. Lift and lower from the floor, maintaining total stability from your strap leg and thigh. Your strap leg should be right up on your hip alignment, and as you lift and lower your bottom leg off the floor, start to feel and anticipate where that ground is, challenging yourself not to touch it, but to lift up and off. Now add that feeling of pressure from the right leg in the strap and push it out further. Don't let the strap start to shorten you. Keep pushing out. It's holding you so that you can push further out. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one here, taking your leg down, bend it back into that tabletop position in your clam. Stretching your right toes, we're sending the energy of the leg forward and back. Hips staying again in your neutral spine. Think of your tailbone pressing back as your leg hinges forward. And keep lifting that left oblique off the floor as you reach your thigh forward and back. You want to make sure that your leg isn't dropping or dipping past your hip bone alignment, nor is it going higher than that alignment. Really try to focus on this geometrical shape that we're working very precisely in the body. Neck is long. Gaze is aware. Stretching through your hamstring as your leg goes forward. You stick your tailbone out, trying to increase that lumbar spine, neutral and arch, to help you maintain the length of your spine. Let's go for another set here of 3. And exhale. For 2. And reach. Finishing your last one here as you stretch your leg to the side, hold it and start to circle any direction of your choice, but maintaining the circle at the height of the hip, keeping your leg fully stretched, making sure you're drawing no bigger than about a grapefruit. Circle for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reverse opposite direction. Working for the stretch final set here of 4, 3, 2, and 1. Safely, smoothly bend your leg all the way in and release the tension from your foot. Take it down. When you're ready, come on up. Give yourself a moment to either take a sip of water, do anything else you need. We're going to be going into our last few exercises using the hand straps, or again, choosing what you have to work with from home. Just making sure that you do have even tension for your arms. Pay attention to how far away you are from your resistance. One cue that I always like to work with when using resistance bands like this, where they're attached to an object, is that you should already have a light little bit of taut activity in the tension. It should never be fully slack. So with your arms stacked right over top of your shoulders, not behind you, over top of your shoulders, check that you have a light little bit of resistance. If you're already struggling to hold this tension, you probably have too much. And if your band is loose and slack, then you have too little. You're going to start with your legs in a tabletop. Modify as you need with your feet on the floor. Shoulders plugged down, breathing in. Zip your thighs together, and on your exhale, we press the arms down, working right away. Arms and straps stretching down and lifting up. Now, if within the first 3 reps you feel the tension isn't enough, I want more challenge, you know what to do. Distance yourself further away from your source and return back to the movement. If you have too much resistance, get closer to your source. No different than if you're on a reformer. Shoulders plugged down into your mat. You don't want your shoulders protracting off of the floor. You want to retract them down and feel this width across the collarbones, stopping your arms right over top of your collarbones, not allowing for the tension to take you all the way back. Your collarbones are below your ears and below your chin. So again, check in with your own anatomical cues in where we're leading the movement, where we're guiding the movement from, where we should feel the work in both directions. Stretching your arms all the way out forward. If it feels right for you to add on a thoracic curl, you add on as you wish. Chest peeling up off the floor. Shoulders lifting because the ribs are gliding down to the hips. Exhale. Make sure that as you lower, your arms are stopping right over top of your chest and collarbones. And as you lift, ensure that your arms are working first into the resistance, that you're not lifting from your neck, you're lifting from your abdominals, taking you up. Adding on, if you're ready, as you lift, we're going to alternate a single leg stretch forward. Exhale, reach. Alternating every single time. Choose to what depth you want to go to today with your legs, but ensure that your static leg and tabletop isn't coming closer towards you. It's staying right over top of your hip bone. Breathe in and exhale. Let's go for 4. 3. Control the movement, especially on the way down. The challenge is to really slow down the part of the movement that we're not used to controlling. You're used to controlling a feeling of press because this is where the emphasis is in pushing tension forward. But can you control down and slow down the work from the abs? One more time, each leg. This time, when you take your left leg long, hold it there. Try to keep it there as a challenge. And just the arms are going to pump as we go into 50, 100. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 20, create a fan of wind across your hips. And on your last 5, hold. Take your left leg to tabletop first, lower down. Before we continue, lift and lower your arms all on their own for a total of 8. Squeeze your thighs into tabletop. For 6, 5. Last 4. Control the lift, shoulders plugging down into the floor and mat, keeping this chest expansion growing wider from side to side. Last 2. We're going right away into our second set of 100. This time as your arms press down, nod on up, stretch your right thigh out. And from here, 50. Breathing in. 30. 20. For 10. Control the lower. Keep your arms out long. Thighs squeeze in. Turn your palms in. Thumbs facing to ceiling. Pinkies facing down. We open and we close. I'm a little bit close to this drape covering the window, so bear with me as it moves. You're going to move through this open and close, keeping your arms stretching out from your collarbones, pressing into your side waist, floating above the floor, but keeping as much as you can your arms in your proprioceptive awareness. As your arms open, adding on an alternating single leg stretch. We worked with the arms and legs in unison on the last one, and here we're working in opposition in unison, stretching out as your arms widen. So we're working limbs away from the midline, from the core, and exhale, drawing into the center. If you're ready to add on, you keep your head, chest, neck down as you open, breathe in, and exhale, curl to tabletop. Keep growing longer, Final set of 4 to finish. We're gonna keep this a single set of reps to each leg. Breathe in and exhale, that's 4. This is 3. 2. Finish your last one here. Breathe in, hold your tabletop together, keep your arms next to your waist, and from here, small opens and closes, keeping your arms floating above the floor. Imagine again like you're working through water. You're pressing your arms in towards your legs. Choose if you want a double leg stretch for your last 8, 7, 6, 5. Imprint your lower back to help support you for 4, 3, 2, 1. Feet to floor. Lower down with control. Send your arms back and release your tension if it's safe to do so. Arms opening up in cactus. Give yourself a stretch, windshield wiping, legs towards one side, looking towards the opposite side with your head, neck, and gaze. And just smoothly switching. Move at your own time. Give yourself the opportunity to release. When you're ready, make your way back to center, take your shins towards you, and give yourself a lower back stretch. Whenever you're ready, rolling all the way up, any way that feels right, any way that feels good. And just sitting tall, stretching your arms to the ceiling, reach on up like somebody's pulling your wrist, lengthen, and exhale, dive forward. Try not to grab your ankles, but rather drape yourself over top of your thighs. Let your back go heavy. And just feel gravity take you down. Feel yourself melt. When you're ready, unraveling one vertebrae at a time, I encourage you to take any time you need to continue stretching. Feel your body release. Give yourself the opportunity to come back to this present moment. I'm also going to take advantage of this opportunity now to say thank you so much for joining me for class, for joining me for this practice that has been designed to really benefit your body with a means of intention, of breath, of training that awareness in how you're working, very similar to if you were on a reformer using the strap system. As always, I love to hear from you, so if you have any questions or comments, leave them for me in the comment section below. As a friendly reminder, YouTube is a free platform. I have no control over the advertising that comes up during the class. However, if you are looking for an ad-free option for your class and practice, this is why I've created a Patreon account. With memberships starting as low as less than a Starbucks coffee, you have the option to try out, to feel out, and to really discover classes that help build your practice with exclusive content and more. Guys, thank you so much for joining. If this is your first time here on my channel, I invite you to click subscribe and join me for free practice. That's the beauty about YouTube. It's free, that you can customize and curate and create a personalized practice for your week. I want to help you create a better relationship to your body, a better relationship to movement, and help cultivate that possibility that we all have physically for ourselves. Thank you again for joining. I hope you have an awesome morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. I look forward to seeing you, of course, at the next burn.